Welcome to the Visionary Introverted Woman Show, the first ever Visionary Introverted Woman Show. Today, I want to tackle an issue that I feel a lot of people struggle with, and I have had to grow in that area. When you hear the phrase, you're allowed to be a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time, what comes to mind? And how do you achieve this? This is what we want to talk about today in the Visionary Introverted Woman Show. Hello, my name is Patience Ogunbona. I'm also known as the Visionary Introverted Woman. And the Visionary Introverted Woman Show is designed to help you as a female entrepreneur and leader to leverage your strengths to thrive in a world that can feel noisy, can feel challenging sometimes as an introvert. However, I want you to know that you can leverage your strengths, you can find the confidence to live the life that you want to live. So, this show is going to be focused on bringing you talks and rich conversations with guests on topics around the area of life, business, career, and leadership. The whole idea is to help you get inspired, to create impactful presence, as well as build your confidence to step up and step out to thrive. So, like I said, today the topic is work in progress versus masterpiece. And the question we want to answer is, can you be both? And if you're going to be both, how are you going to do that? So I'll start by sharing a story with you. And for those of you who join me live, feel free to say hi. Feel free to join in the conversations through comments. So today, what we want to talk about, like I said, is work in progress versus masterpiece. I want to share a story. In 2018, I was in Las Vegas, a dream come true. And I was holding, and I went there for a speech and a presentation in a women's conference. I took a break and I walked down on the strip, and a sculpture caught my eye on the window. So I walked into the shop, and when I did, I stepped there and started looking at these great sculptures all around the room. So I said to the lady, "Hi, what exactly does it take to get these sculptures to come to life?" And she said, uh, "It takes a very, very long time. The craftsman who does this takes his time to create these masterpieces." I wasn't surprised because they were very intricate indeed. And that got me thinking, how long did it take? And she said to me, actually, these sculptures can take years before he brings them to the market. He takes his time. And that's the thing about masterpiece. It does take time, right? So basically, what is a masterpiece? Let's look at that in terms of the definition of what is a masterpiece. A masterpiece is work done with extraordinary care and to detail and skill. Sometimes you can say that is done with perfection and done to a level of excellence. How about work in progress? Obviously, work in progress is a piece of work that is in, basically, as the word says, in progress. It is unfinished, and it is on the way to being finished. So the question is, can you be both? That's the question, and that's what is important to address today. Most of us are always try to be the best at this, the best at that, and many times we find ourselves, oh, perhaps we are not measuring up to that level that we want to attain. However, the truth is, trying to be a masterpiece is not necessary because you're already a masterpiece. For those of you that are of spiritual disposition, I would like to share what that means. So, according to scripture, it says that after God made man, he said that, and obviously woman, he said everything he had done was perfect. So basically, if you're thinking, I would need to try to be a masterpiece, you're already a masterpiece. Another scripture, most of you would be aware of the psalmist David in the story of David and Goliath. And we know that he performed a great feat that many people couldn't perform around him at the time because he saw in himself the capability to go out there and deliver success. But one thing he says as well, and I paraphrase, he said, "I, you knew me from my mother's womb. I am fearfully, perfectly, and wonderfully made." So, in terms of one revelation or one insight that I want you to take away is the fact that you are already a masterpiece by the fact that you are a human being. The truth, if you look at how a human being comes to be, they talk about how many eggs and how many sperm cells don't make it, but you made it and you are here. And when you come out, you are already a masterpiece. But here's the thing, when you come out, you get lots of layers of maybe people putting different layers on you, labels on you, trying to tell you what you can and cannot do. And so you begin to doubt, am I really a masterpiece? So somebody says, oh, look at your big nose. So if you when you come out as a human being, you're 100%, right? And then somebody says, oh, look at your big nose. And you go, oh, that's a minus from the 100%. And someone says, oh, you're not as great as the other person in this area or doing this drawing. That's a minus. You live in an environment where you're not treated like you're valuable and you matter, gives you a minus. As time goes on, you build layers and layers that begin to hide that masterpiece that you are. It hides it from you and you can't see it. That is where the work element comes in. So, work in progress. One of the things I know is that being an introvert, being quiet, can be challenging because it feels like the world likes noise, the world likes faster pace of living and doing things. So basically, I want to acknowledge those of you that are joining but on live here and sharing and commenting. Nice to have you here. So basically, as an introvert, you might struggle and feel like, oh dear, because I'm quiet, because I'm not as fast as other people, that's minus on my being a masterpiece. So I cannot measure up to what it means to really be a masterpiece. And you begin to doubt yourself. And this is all about self-image, having the right self-image, looking at yourself as who you truly are, right from the beginning of time, right? So what we want to look at is you realize that you have to remove those layers and create and let people see that masterpiece, right? People need to see this masterpiece unfolding. The layers, the work. People think the work is like, we talk about work and we talk about going to work, the 9 to 5, going to work, maybe running your business. I believe that when it comes to the work in progress we're talking about working on removing the layers that are covering the masterpiece that you are, for you to see it and for you to show the world. A lot of times, many people would struggle with how that work should needs to look like for you to achieve seeing yourself as a masterpiece. Some people struggle with the fact that they are in the wrong environment, they're in the wrong place. So every time what they see is flaws. Is it possible for a masterpiece to be flawed? The answer is yes. Why? Because the default by which a human being is made, we are breakable, we get hurt by others or by things in the world. It's not a perfect world, even though you're a masterpiece. And the fact, therefore, is that your masterpiece as a person has defaults of what is built in there, what you can and cannot do, that you cannot change. And your flaws do not stop you from being a masterpiece. Take, for example, when you dig the diamonds from the ground, you need to realize that that diamond can become a very shiny object and a valuable object that you want to keep and treat as precious. But what do you need to do? You need to remove the layers that are covering that beauty. You need to buff it, you need to shine it, you need to make it come out. You need to make the potential shine. So if you feel like, oh, I'm a work in progress and I cannot be a masterpiece, no. What you're looking at is you are already a masterpiece. You are not trying to create a masterpiece. You are trying, what you're doing, working in progress, is unveiling that masterpiece. Yeah. Okay. So when we talk about all these things, we want to also address the fact that a lot of people uh, will say to you, who are you, to feel like you can be great, like the Marianne Williamson's, quote that says, who are you to think that you can be great? And the question you need to answer yourself is, why can't I be great? After all, I'm already a masterpiece. And every one of us has gifts and talents that make the world a better place, that complements the other. Because as they say, variety is the spice of life. I don't think you will find the curry spice going, because I'm not thyme or because I'm not coriander, I am not special. If you want curry taste, you put curry in your food and it will be totally different from what you get from coriander and from thyme. I think human beings struggle to see that and celebrate that about yourself. So I want to share with you, I've made a couple of notes to share with you on, some things that I realized over time. So over the years, I learned one thing, and that is that everything you see exists twice. And I learned that from one of my mentors, Paul Martinelli. And if he gets to watch this, I'm celebrating you for this insight you gave me years ago that has allowed me to continue to work on myself. So basically, he shares about the fact that everything you see exists twice, once in the mind of the creator, and then in reality when you bring it to life. So the way I see it, as a person who wants to see yourself as a masterpiece, you must realize that you exist perfectly in the mind of your creator who has created you. Now, the next step is you need to unveil that you already exist and you already are a masterpiece, but you might not be able to see it. That's the second insight that I got from my mentor, where he says, you hold your image. That is a phrase he gave us. Now, this image might be an image that has been distorted from abuse, from trauma, from loss, from failure, from trying to fit in as an introvert in an extrovert world, or an extrovert trying to fit in an introvert environment, from all sorts of things, from many, many things. But you need to define and go back to that image of who you truly are. That's the image you want to hold. And many times within our heart, we have a desire of who we want to be. It is said that what you desire is what you deserve. And you have an inkling, a kind of knowing within you of the potential that lies underneath, if only you could develop it. How about all those dreams and all those visions you have for where you want to go? That's an example of the image you need to hold, because that represents your ability to bring out your potential, to be that person that you want to be, and to unveil that masterpiece, right? So what then stops you from unveiling the masterpiece? Sometimes it is that you are not holding the right self-image. You have the wrong self-image about yourself, and you don't tend to celebrate when you are successful. but you tend to ruminate about your failures more than anything and discount the successes that you have in life. So you are constantly a work and you can't see the progress bit of the work in progress because there are two sides of it. And in the middle is I, right? I, which is work in, you have the I, progress. So if you have the abbreviation WIP, you realize that, yeah? So basically, lack of the right self image can affect your ability to see that masterpiece in you. Lack of celebrating the successes on the way, and you are not accepting and moving away from your failures. We do it, I do it. And once you do that, and you call them failures, and so you put a full stop on it, that means the progress bit never happens. You keep working or you completely stop working and you don't move yourself towards progress. And progress leading towards unveiling of the masterpiece. Here are some things that you can do to bring yourself forward, to begin to see yourself as the masterpiece you are, to begin to unveil that masterpiece that you are. First things first, affirmations and declarations. It's kind of very simple. I am a masterpiece. It's just an affirmation. I am masterpiece. I am a masterpiece. I am perfectly formed. I think what happened, like we talk about the psalmist, after he won and he defeated Goliath, he began to run for his life. This is somebody that was told, "You shall be king." The journey to the kingdom became very perilous indeed. He started to run for his life. He started being chased. He began to question whether the vision that he had or the calling and the potential of him being a king was going to ever be realized. That was why he said, I am perfectly formed. I am perfectly made. And that is an affirmation that needs to be something that you say to hold the right image of yourself. Yeah, very important. And one of the things I use currently as I develop, because they say new level, new devil. And you find that on the journey of life, you get to different stages and you feel inadequate. You lack confidence. And a lot of times you hear people talk about imposter syndrome, like you're not being the person that you are, that you are faking who you are by what you're doing. But basically what you're doing is working in progress to unveil the masterpiece that you are. Accepting that helps you to deal with imposter syndrome. So the second thing, apart from the affirmations, is linked to the affirmations. You need to nurture a healthy self-image. We talk about growth environments a lot, being that I'm a John Maxwell executive director and certified and licensed coach. Something we talk about a lot is being in the right growth environment and investing in your growth, seeing value in yourself and adding value to yourself, basically, because you need to plant yourself. A seed that is planted in the wrong soil would not grow, and it would not, and it might be stunted. And then you begin to doubt whether it has potential. You begin to doubt whether it can ever yield fruit. That is the problem with staying in the wrong environment. That is not a growth environment for you. And we all, being that you're a masterpiece, you're a certain type of person, a certain type of environment will work for you over another type of environment. What you need to do is to find out, what is my growth environment? That is where the work is. So the work is around discovering what is beneficial for me to be able to make progress to unveil the masterpiece that I am. A healthy self image is very important. And one of the things that gets attacked, gets lost when we suffer failure is self image. You begin to hear the voices. Your inner critic is actually challenging your self image, it's trying to get you to deny any greatness in you. Oh, well, you did this, so you cannot be this. So you now start doubting your capability to achieve your full potential that you believe is hidden underneath layers and layers of years of maybe things that have happened to you, or lack of opportunity. Because for some people, it is the lack of opportunity. And you need to realize that you need to step away from the wrong environment and find the right environment to create the opportunities for yourself. Like L'Oreal says, you are worth it. Yeah. Because you're worth it, you've got to do that. Then the next one is to recognize. The third one I want to share is about recognizing the enemies of progress. What are some of those enemies of progress? Pressure to conform is one of them. Yeah. Pressure to conform to a certain stereotype, to a certain kind of persona, to a certain definition of what success means. You take charge by defining for yourself what success means to you. That is then linked also to having a right self-image. Without the right self-image, you cannot take control of defining what success means to you, what is satisfactory to you, what gives you fulfillment, what makes you happy. And we all can link to that from our values. What are your core values? What makes your heart sing? You know, not what others say, 6 figures, 7 figures, climbing this or jumping out of a plane or anything like that. Measuring yourself by needing to conform to certain either unattainable or difficult measures of what it means to be successful. The second P that works against progress is perfectionism. And it's about thinking if it's not perfect, it's not worth it. It's not worth revealing that layer of yourself. You are going on a journey of progress, and then you keep saying it's not perfect. Now, perfection is a decision, as far as I'm concerned. Getting it out there, testing it, and seeing how it performs, then tweaking it and making it to reach optimal levels that you want it to reach. Therefore, perfection should be about mastery and developing excellence. In that way, you're making progress towards developing mastery about the things that you want to achieve in life. So you take away the layer of perfectionism that is over you that might have been created because of the third one, which is um, the fact that people compared you to others. As children, you would compare, you would get people comparing drawings. Oh, Jack, the son of Paul, can run better than you. And suddenly you begin to think, I don't measure up because Paul runs better than me. And nobody is saying, okay, you can swim, Jack can't swim, and that's okay. This is where you stand. So there is that comparison that makes you constantly want to be perfect, to achieve perfection. And that is one thing you need to work on. That leads me to the fourth one, which is thinking about your belief system. What belief system do you hold? And when we talk about a system, it's a series of maybe strategies or points that give you something to hold on to that will lead you to the next phase or that creates a certain outcome at the end of the day. So if you feel like you have a limiting, what we call limiting belief, how do you create a belief system that counteracts those limiting beliefs that have been built into you by somebody else, by your environment, or from maybe the lack of you putting together the evidence about your being a great masterpiece? So you need to create the right belief system and live within that belief system. That then brings me to, if you're going to live within your belief system, you have to develop consistent routines. These routines help you to stay within the belief system. I gave an example of a diamond. If you want a diamond to shine more, you polish it. The more you polish it, the more it shines. So consistency is about polishing the good parts of you, those parts that you know you want to show as the masterpiece that you are, that potential that you have. I will give an example for myself. I remember when I first jumped to into entrepreneurship, I knew that one of my passions was I would love to speak, I would love to do trainings, and I wasn't doing that as I would have wanted in my corporate career. So I didn't see my full potential. But once I was able to look at my disc personality, look at the things that light me up, I realized that I had a gift to be a great speaker. But a great speaker is made, not just born, right? Like John Maxwell will say, a champion is not made in the ring. A champion is created before they get in the ring. The ring is just the evidence when they defeat their opponent that they are champions. So I decided to then start working on my speaking, putting myself out there in competitions, and I got better and better. I could then see my potential. I had to go on a consistent journey. Now, I stopped that for a while. Going back to it is something that is part of why you can see me on the Visionary Introverted Women Show. I love talking to people, and I love to come to you with insights that will make a difference. So consistency helps you to remove the layers and reveal the masterpiece. And the last one that I want to talk about is having cheerleaders. Enough people have critics in the world. You have your inner critic, and then you have those that will say things against you or come on your post. For example, we see it on social media. You say something, and they come on your post and they desecrate the post. And always you would notice they are trying to attack your sense of identity, your sense of value in yourself. They will say personal things that would hurt you. So, what you want to do is to remember to find cheerleaders. Who are those that are in your corner, who can celebrate you? If you're on the journey of working in progress, sometimes the messages that you hear around you, the things that go wrong around you, will challenge your ability to make progress towards revealing you as a masterpiece. So if you have a coach, that's what they're there for. If you have a mentor, that's what they're there for. If you're constantly developing your belief system, that's what it's there for, to help you to achieve what you want to achieve. So basically, what am I saying in essence is surround yourself with people who will cheer you on, who will see the beauty in you when you feel low and you can't see the beauty in yourself. So this is what I wanted to share. Is the first episode of the Visionary Introverted Woman Show. Expect a lot more as time goes on, and make sure that you connect with me, as well as subscribe to my channel on YouTube. You can also listen to this on podcast, as it's going to be out soon as well. So I want to celebrate today the privilege to be able to come to you and share with you on this first episode of the Visionary Introverted Woman Show. One of the things I love to do on all my shows, on all my talks, is to leave you with something to think about. And today I would start with my own phrase that says, impossible is somebody else's opinion. Feel free to disagree and carve out your own path. Discover and carve out your own path towards success. So if somebody says something is impossible, find out for yourself whether your potential is able to help you achieve it.